Hello and welcome on Thomas Geiger Car. Today with the first test drive of the Mercedes-Maybach GLS. It took them a little while until they realized that SUV is a mega trend, also reaching up in the highest segments of the market. And since they're selling the Maybach S-Class like hotcakes, now they're trying it with an SUV. While the standard GLS is competing with cars like the BMW X7, now it's rising up and competing against Rolls-Royce, Cullinan and Bentley Bentayga. If it can hold up with these high acclaimed competitors, that's what we're gonna figure out in our first test drive. So join me on my ride and I'll tell you more about it. While Mercedes has stretched the S-Class to make it a Maybach, the GLS stays in its known shape. The vehicle is already big enough and the interior is spacious enough to host all the luxury you want. But for that, Mercedes has added some show and shine, some gliss and glamour. We got a new grille. It's the only Mercedes SUV with the star on the bonnet. We have this fancy mesh optics down here. We have 23-inch wheels. We have the Maybach logo at the back, at the D-pillar, and we have these folding steps that open up and make it easy to access the seventh heaven of SUV driving. Okay, let's start with the hard part of the work and begin as the chauffeur. But I must admit, there are worse places to work than behind the wheel of the Maybach GLS. Not only the interior looks nicer than in the standard vehicle, which is already quite beautiful and luxurious. No, we're also talking about a bit more power. Don't get fooled by the GLS 600 badge, which sadly doesn't stand for 12 cylinders anymore. We're having the same 4-liter V8 than we know from the GLS 580, but with just a twist more power. While the standard model has 489 horsepower, we're talking about 557, plus 22 and 250 Newton meters of the electric starter generator. We also have 730 Newton meter from the petrol engine, adding to 980 Newton meter. No wonder that even the almost 3 tons doesn't bother when you accelerate and hit the pedal. 0 to 100 in 4.9 seconds and a top speed of 250 with an absolute ease. But on the other hand, there is no rush. Once you sit in a Maybach, you've achieved everything that there is to achieve, and you're definitely not in a hurry anymore. There is definitely not a lack of power. The car has enough of it, but if you compare it to the Cullinan and the Bentayga, you miss the 12-cylinder. The ride is as smooth as you know it from the Brits. It is as quick, as fast and as punchy, but it's just lacking the prestige. And in that range of vehicle, it's all about show and shine, showing off and showing what you have. It's a bit like you go to the loo and you peek to the person next to you and realize that one's got 4 inches or 4 cylinders more than you. If you look around in the interior, you realize pretty fast the Maybach is just a upfitted Mercedes GLS. But since I like the GLS a lot, I don't have a problem with that. And Maybach has done a good job. The material is more premium, the finish is more luxurious, the graphics are adopted, even the perfume is exclusive for Maybach. And if you compare it to Bentley and Rolls-Royce, it's the more modern luxury. Whilst the Brits have a very traditional interior that is a bit outdated to my taste, this car looks pretty fresh and modern for the digital age. It's like you step foot in a very old, very traditional 5-star hotel or in a new designer loft. And I like the latter more. As much as I love driving, I really like sitting in the back of the GLS, because second row is the place that offers first-class comfort. The reason for that, even if the size is the same than the standard GLS, the interior is much roomier because there are less seats installed. Usually you get 7 seats. This Maybach holds only 4 spots, the most comfortable you can find in an SUV. The executive seats, as you see here, for a bit of an extra charge, offer you a seating position as you know it from a private jet. already very comfortable in the standard position. It's just the push of the button and you'll find your perfect rest. I think I'll better remove my shoes because the white leather also costs kind 50,000 euros extra. So I think I'll better don't do any damage to that. And it's, as I said, just one push of a button. The backrest is reclining, the footrest is coming up, and I can almost sleep in the car. So James, could you go slow and smooth? I'd like to take a nap, please. It's not only the interior design and the kind of furniture that treats you to close your eyes and to take a nap. Also, the engineers have done quite a bit of work to give you the maximum tranquility, quietness, smoothness. The electric air suspension that we know from the GLS E-Active body control that looks ahead and adjusts the wheels to the bumps in the street before you actually hit them is now focused on the rear seat. So the driver has to, in brackets, suffer a bit, but the maximum comfort is achieved on the back seat. No bumps, no nothing disturb your sleep. Also, the noise insulation is better than ever before, because Mercedes has not just put just a luggage compartment cover behind the seats. No, they've been building a proper divider, so you can't reach into the trunk. You lose a bit of trunk space, but for that you gain lots of quietness, tranquility, and the perfect cocoon feeling. As you might expect it from a high-raised luxury limousine, you got all the gliss and glamour that comes with the Maybach badge. We have smoothest leather, we have perfectly trimmed wood, and we have some nice extras. We not only have the cup holders that are temperature controlled, so they heated or cooled. No, we have also special holders for your champagne flutes that will be stored in here. If they would have trust me, because they're made from silver, so they better took them out. And you have your champagne cooler behind that. There are also small desks to do your work in, and I got my own control for the infotainment system, my small tablet to play on the big screens ahead of me. Since the car is not really a bargain, even if it's much cheaper than the Bentley Bentayga or the Rolls-Royce Cullinan, even Maybach owners have to work sometimes. But also work is more pleasant in a Maybach than in any other car. Usually you have to fold down some table-like things from the backrest of the front seat. In this case, you'll open the compartment under here, and it's almost a fine mechanical ballet that unfolds the working tables here, and there is no much better way to sign a contract, to check the stock markets, or just to read some important figures from your company than on tables like that. Thanks for joining me on that first ride with the Maybach GLS, which most probably will be my last ride as well. No doubt this car will be a success, because for Mercedes it's almost a bargain. If you compare the 160,000 Mercedes is charging with the 180,000 for the Bentley Bentayga and the more than 250,000 for the Rolls-Royce Cullinan, this car will sell like hot cake. Nevertheless, way out of my reach, and I think I have to look for the Christmas tree and maybe at least find a model car of the vehicle and continue driving my old G-Class instead.